Let me read mine while you
Okay.
I'm gonna read mine.
You know, I'm gonna just start putting them up.
Well, mine is in 3, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm not greedy, but I'm hungry.
Like that's one of the biggest lies that really hurt me for a while.
I already feel like I'm sitting with somebody famous. You all right?
If your circle of people aren't holding you accountable, it's time to get a new circle.
Yeah, the Lord is just so evident and so faithful and just working in so many hearts.
It's literally an indicator of what's actually going on in my life.
Welcome back, family, to the Journey Podcast. I'm your host, Tamika Holness, and today, as you can see, we have another guest, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
My name is Carlin Niles. I'm originally from Massillon, Jackson. I am a 2-time Olympian, played in the NFL for a short stint of time. Ran track professionally, and I hold the title as the world's fastest rugby player.
Ooh, y'all heard this dude's resume? Hey, man, we was just talking about, man, that, you know, we want people to, like, you know, be proud of, like, their good accolades.
Yep.
We need to start being, you know what I'm saying, boastful in the things that, you know what I'm saying, God has done. You feel me? Here on this podcast, like, we just walking through, you know, people's journeys of life. We just walking through wherever you want to take it, bro. That's where the show goes.
Yeah.
And, you know, we go for about an hour, maybe a little less. It might go over. But, like, man, like, wherever you want to start it at, bro, with that resume, man, I'm sure we could talk all day. But wherever you want to start it at, man, like, walk us through, you know what I'm saying, Carlin's journey.
You know, my journey is kind of unique. You know, when I was younger, I was in a foster care system. So my twin and I got taken away from my mother when we were early age, so about 6, I believe. And prior to that, we were living in homeless shelters. We were in and out of cars living, and we didn't have no place to go. And so I remember this day where my sister and I were outside my mom's apartment, and there's a bunch of cops, and they came and swarmed our place.
Whoa.
And yeah, man. And so they put us in the back of a police car. They opened up the paddy wagon. They put my mom in the back of it. And I ran out. I was like, wait, I want to get this to my mommy. So I went to the grass, picked up this dandelion, and they opened it up. I gave that to her, and then that was the last time I saw her. And
What was the significance of the dandelion? What was that
I
about?
don't know. It was just, I think for me, it was something that it was a flower because because she was leaving me. And I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know anything as far as where we were going to go. And I just wanted to give it to her. And so I gave it to her, and that was the last time I seen her.
Wow.
And so we got taken to our first placement. That first placement, they made me stand there, and they hit me with a metal belt over my face. And then we left that placement and went to another placement where there was a bunch of kids, and my sister and I was always fighting to protect her and protect me. And I used to run away from home a lot. And so I was like, man, God, please get me out of this. And I didn't know much about God at the time, but I knew, I think in the presence that I knew there was one.
It's so crazy to me that, like, because I work with, you know, kids who are in and out of foster care.
Yep.
And, like, it's always amazes me at the significance of the horror stories, man. I be like, dang, man, this is supposed to be like a healthy system because it's designed for kids who don't have something. But I be hearing all these stories, and I'm like, man, this is insane. This is another level of abuse. This is another level of abandonment. Like, and kids be so young. You saying you like 6, 7 years old, you get hit with rods. So you got to run away from home. You like trying to think more grown.
Yeah.
At 7 years old.
7 years old.
It blows my mind. And I'm sure there's amazing stories as well. You know, positive sides to the spectrum as well. But, like, man, it always be blowing my mind. Like, how was this designed to do this? But that's not what's going on.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate for some kids in some placements.
Yeah.
You know, foster care, there's not, those spectrums are between, severe and moderate or good. You have your good foster homes and who do.
For sure.
Yeah. And the people who do what they're supposed to do in their purpose and live their purpose. But, some unfortunate environments, it's not always that case, and kids always don't have what's fortunate and what they should be getting in the type of care.
You need to get them good ones, they flowers.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
They need that dating line. That's what
Yeah, correct. And that's what you need, because as a kid, I felt like, especially in those early ages in your life, you need that nurturing, you need that care, you need
Facts.
people to, pour into you. And as a kid, I didn't celebrate, up until that time, any birthdays, holidays, any stuff like that. And so I didn't know what that stuff was. And then at the same time, I'm not even getting a good education. I don't even remember going to school.
Right.
And so there were so many odds stacked up against me that wasn't my fault, but then I had to deal with. And so that uphill battle from there turned me in my mind, in my mental state to a whole different being. But I think for me, God, one, put a good family in my life, and he placed me, and my twin and I got adopted when we were 8. However, just because the grass and it started to be shining, the sun started to shine, there was still uphill battles I had to face based off of everything that was going on in my past life. But
Right.
I think I had a switch when I found out I had a gift, which was running fast.
Yeah. Talk to me about like that track journey, man. Like once once that switch flipped for you, like what was the impact now? Like what was it, the intensity? Like what did you practically do? Like, all right, I'm gonna start doing this every day.
Correct. So when I was 8 and we moved to like East Canton, there was a kid who was like fast, and he was older than me, but I didn't know that at the time. And I was like, man, I like that. Like he was just moving. And so we used to throw this tennis ball far,
Yeah.
and we used to try to get it before it bounced twice. And so I used to do that, and I used to just run these hills in my yard, even when it was snowing. And so when
Through the snow.
even through the snow, man. And my parents wanted a good education for us, and so we moved to Jackson.
Yeah.
And so we moved to Jackson, and I remember I was outside, and my neighbor gave my dad a football flyer, and I didn't know anything about football. I didn't know what that was. And so he took me to my first football practice. And when I went to my first football practice, I was running laps. And then people were telling my dad, like, man, your son's fast. And I remember my dad told me, he said, if you're the fastest, never let anybody beat you. And I took that to heart. And so from that point on, I was even more dedicated. I was studying film, Carl Lewis, Maurice Green. I was working on my technique. I was trying to learn as much as I could to be the fastest.
Yeah.
And so that's where a lot of my drive started to happen. And I used to watch Rocky movies a lot. He came from nothing, made something of himself.
Right.
And so I found inspiration
Climbed
from
the
that too.
steps.
Yep. And so from that point on, I was obsessed with running fast.
But that's crazy, man. Like, a little bit off air, we was talking about, Carlin asked me, like how you grew up, like where you from, and I'm like saying, yo, I was a fat kid, man. Like I was I was more than chubby, man, but I was always athletic. And at some point in time, around my freshman year of high school, it started to come together. It started to come together more. I started getting like slimmer, just started getting faster, just jumping even higher. I was a late bloomer.
Yeah.
And, his story, he's like, nah, man, like when I saw something I wanted, I was like, I'm doing it. I'm getting to it.
Correct.
Bro, that's so impressive, bro. Like it just speaks volumes, and I'm sure it shaped like the rest of your life, man, like how you approach things, bro.
Yeah. And that's correct, man. I think for me, at a young age, which I didn't know at the time, I was instilling good values and morals and discipline within myself.
Yeah.
And I was proactive in ways. So in high school, I didn't go to school dances. I didn't go to prom. I was always working out. And I knew that when you had a gift, you can't be like everybody else.
Right.
But also I knew that I couldn't afford to make a mistake. I'm a black kid, also in predominantly in white environment, and I was a successful athlete.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I made a mistake, it would have probably been blasted all over the newspapers, blah, 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 would have ruined chances, and my character would have been ruined.
Yeah.
And so I learned that I had to maneuver and operate differently because, one, I didn't want to be a statistic.
Do people underestimate awareness?
Yeah, correct.
And it leads to, destruction in any kind of sense. Like, I don't know, destruction is a really, devastating word. but like it can take you places where you didn't actually want to go.
Correct.
And that that awareness, bro, like bro, that is, dude, like praise God, bro.
Oh, praise God, man. I think God giving me that ability to be aware, but also, my mom taught me a lot, as well as my dad.
Man.
Good counsel, mentorship is crucial, but a lot of it for me still was just understanding. I saw people who had gifts and they made mistakes, and I remember I took cut out clippings and I said I'll never be like them. And you learn that from people.
Yeah.
So you have to use your environment to also be a teacher to you.
Yeah, learn what not to be.
Yep. Learn what not to be, and also have things in place, and be aware of what isn't good for me. What does good friendships look like? What does good relationships look like? What does a good environment look like? And then how do I maneuver that and make it my own? It's all about creating your picture and not letting life create it for you. And so,
Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
It's all about creating your picture, creating your life how you want it, and not letting life create it for you, because it can. And if once you do that, that picture becomes life, and the life picture
Almost
take
threw
you
my
all over the
mic,
place.
y'all. Almost.
It'll take you all over the place, man. And you be like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
And then now you have to deal with all the after fact of it.
The consequences.
Yup,
You know, people be. That's another thing people underestimate is the consequences of whatever actions that led them to, whatever they thought they could get away with. And, that's when the woe is me comes out. And, obviously there's grace and there's mercy, all that, forgiveness, whatever. But you still got to deal with these consequences though.
Facts.
And we laugh about it, but it's just, I know you understand the severity. It could get severe at a certain point. The more you get, the losing gets more drastic.
Yeah.
So go ahead though. My fault.
No,
bro.
straight on. You got to understand what's at stake.
Yeah.
I think for me, understanding what the holistic picture looks like and not always conventional thinking. And we get sucked into emotions, and the devil will blind you. You think you can get away with this over and over again, and you're used to that, and you get suckered in. And then one mistake and one thing could change your whole life.
Oh, man.
And even though you've learned from those consequences, you still, from your mistakes, there's still consequences that you have to live with.
Yeah.
And that can haunt you for the rest of your life.
So
and I
true.
think for me, I always looked at myself, and I had to, the things that I wanted to answer in the mirror is, am I where I want to be? Two, I never wanted to be like, I should have been here, I should have been that.
Right.
And we do that, and we
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda, and I didn't want to live with that. I couldn't
Yeah.
because when that happens, you have to live with that for the rest
Got
of
it.
your life, and it will eat you.
Man.
Every time, man. You see people tell stories, I could have been this, I could have been that, this happened to me, and they blame the circumstances, they blame this and blame that, blame people for their shortcomings.
Just like this, like the
Yep.
Spider-Man meme.
Just like that.
just like-
Just like it. And I knew that I didn't want to face that.
Yeah, that's real, bro. Because there's definitely been moments in my life I felt like that. I'm like, dang, bro, I should have just did this, and I had to live with it. And then it took me a while, and some of those things to move on. Like obviously time already moved on, but mentally,
Yeah.
I was still like, dang, I really wish I would have did that. And it took me a while to let go and move on and to embrace the season I'm in right now, or in those chapters in my life. You know what I'm saying? So that's a real thing, man.
Yep.
And to be in a mindset of, yeah, I'm getting to this. That is, dude, for real, man. For anybody throw your flowers, this virtual flowers.
Yeah,
Oh
man.
man, keep walking this through, bro. So you in high school, you wasn't a prom guy, you just
Yeah.
going.
I was a straight dog.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the best. I didn't care what it was, and I was gonna outwork anybody. And so I got to high school. I ran track and played football.
Yeah.
And so I excelled so much in those sports, and so many articles. I look back, so many trophies, so many this that I was doing, but it was just a product of my hard work. And so I end up getting a scholarship, going to Ashland, doing football and track. I wanted to go D1. I didn't, and God had a different plan for me. And so I always wanted to go pro in track.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't. I went to college. I didn't finish at Ashland. I left, And that was a pinnacle on my point where a downfall was.
Yeah, I said, what happened? Why did you leave? What was-
Man, and so I used to watch track all the time, and I was like, man, this man, Michael Rogers. And I used to watch him over and over again, and he came up from nothing and made something of himself. And my first semester, I got like 3.0 GPA, and then I flunked out. And I tried to go back, I couldn't. I couldn't go back. And I needed help, and then when I needed people, they weren't there. Kind of hurt. And so now I'm back in Ohio, back at home.
What was the distractions from like the class? Or did it just like
Man, so what happened was I wrote a paper the first time. I plagiarized that one. I did, dog. I plagiarized that. I plagiarized that paper. Hey, no shortcuts. Well, I plagiarized that paper, and the second time I wrote a paper, and it was a misunderstanding as far as what the professor was asking for us to do.
Right.
And so I did what he told us, and a couple other people did it as well. So it wasn't just me.
Right.
And so they tried to ding me for that, but I cited it. And so because it was my second attempt, they didn't even look really into it, and they just like dismissed me.
Yeah.
But
It's already your first offender.
Correct. And so they're thinking with their own, they had their own biases.
Right.
And so now I'm looking like, but I didn't intentionally, especially when I, I just said it.
Pull it in, man.
I referenced my references.
There we go.
And
Okay.
so I did all that. And so, and I'm sitting here, well, these people did it too, so it was a teacher.
Right.
And so I'm not trying to blame the teacher, but it was misunderstanding. And so that was that, man. And so I had to go somewhere to try to get my grades up. And it was just one class because I had good grades. And that's what caught me. And I couldn't. I was at home working for my parents at a child care center, and running in the hills and trying to go to this place. I got to go a place to try to run track professionally, and then
unattached running.
Yeah, unattached running, bro. And
I know that grind.
Yup. And so I'm like, I'm not gonna make it being in Ohio. I know a lot as far as knowledge wise and how to run, but the weather wasn't conducive to what I needed it to be, in the training what I needed to be, and being right in the right environment. And so my good friend to this day name is Chris Majori. And so
What's up, family? Had to pause the video, so excuse the interruption. But make sure you liking the video, make sure you sharing it with your friends, and make sure you subscribing, man. The subscribe button is right below. Come on, man. Like, share, subscribe. All right? Now back to the show.
I was training at one of his facilities. It's called Warehouse now, and I was doing speed stuff, and some kid was like, this guy was like, you ain't gonna never be the fastest being in Ohio. You need to, go.
Right.
So I was like, I'm gonna try to hit up Mike Rogers. I ain't never thought in my life this man would respond to me. And so I went on Instagram, I messaged him, he hit me back. And I told him, like, hey, I want to run track professionally. I want to come down there and train with you. It's been a dream. He got in contact with his coach. I talked to him. I hit up Chris, who was the owner of Powerhouse. And so he owns a bunch of stuff. He owns jerseys.
Yeah.
He owns a lot of basically Stark County. And so I talked to him, and he knew I was a good kid. And so he did his, fact checks and knew I was a good person, a good kid.
Yeah.
And that was the most important thing, was my character. My character always been intact.
Yeah.
And he knew I was successful as far as, what I did in high school. And so
I gotta pause you right here, man. I gotta tell the viewers, man. Here, he about to get into it, but like I could already tell, man. Here's where preparation meets opportunity.
Yep.
So here's where all his hard work, all his trauma from childhood, I could already tell the focus into the training in high school, and just trying. Yeah, he messed up. He suffered his consequences. Did all what he was supposed to do. Cool. But like he stuck with, like, you know what? I must still try to be the best I could be, and it's got proof. Like the FAT times is that you can't lie about the FAT. That scanner gonna scan it.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? It's hey man, this is a good kid and he's actually talented.
Correct.
So go to the opportunity. All right.
Yep. And he was like, man, you ain't gonna be no fast being in Ohio. He said, wherever you want to go, I'll take you. And so about 2 weeks later, I packed up all my stuff. I moved to Austin, Texas, where I was training with the training group. So that was a dream of mine to come true. I'm here sitting there training with Olympians and world champions and guys who run 9.8, 9.9, 9.7.
That's crazy.
Natasha Hastings, Bianca Knight, Michael Tinsley, who's a Olympic gold silver medalist. And people who got contracts with Nike. And so I went down there, and about 3 months later, I'm running on ESPN.
That's
And
so fire, bro.
Yeah, man, all I needed was somebody to believe in me.
Yeah.
And he believed in me. And I think for me, I wanted to make him proud and say thank you. And he didn't want a dime from me.
Right.
He didn't want a dime from me. And so he did all the goodness of his heart. But God placed him in my life for a reason. God knew where I was trying to go. And God, I had some pit stops and some downfalls, but God knew what type of person I was.
Right.
And I kept a dream alive. Regardless of what my circumstances were, I kept a dream alive. When most people would have, I tried sometimes to just get a regular job. Maybe I'm supposed to work. But
Right.
in my heart, I saw past what the eye could see.
Yeah.
And so I gravitated towards that emotion and that energy, and I knew God was telling me something, but I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I trusted it.
Right.
And I remember in 2012 where I was getting ready for Olympic trials, and this is my dream, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I sacrificed for.
Yeah.
2 weeks out from the trials,
This is the big stage.
this is the big
it.
stage. And so at the time I had like $500 to my name. And I'm like, man, if you're not Usain Bolt, nobody kind of know about you. And I'm
Right.
just like, man, I really want to make Chris proud. I want to say thank you, man, for believing in me. And I wanted to be able to tell my story. One, I wanted to be able to tell my story and inspire millions of people around the world and show them that you can do anything you want if you put your mind to, and if God put that in your heart.
Yeah.
I wanted to make the USA team. I wanted to make the Olympics. I wanted to get a sponsorship by Nike, and that's what I envisioned. And I wanted to be the fastest rugby player in the world. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be the fastest one of the fastest rugby player in the world.
Yeah.
And so that was my vision before I saw when I first started watching rugby. And as I watched it, all those things that I told you popped up. And so I got on Google who to contact, found the CEO, who was Nigel Melville. I sent him an email. He called me like 5 o'clock in the morning the next day. I talked to him. I prayed about it. And 4 days later, I packed up all my stuff. I moved to Aspen, Colorado. He said, and I remember he's like, hey, I think you'd be a good fit for the USA team. And I thought I'd go straight there, which they were based in San Diego. I had to go to Aspen. So I had to train. And so I remember I was driving up there and I was crying because I'm like, God, if this don't work out, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my teammates before I left, I said, I'm going to see you in the 2016 Olympics. And they looked at me like I was crazy. And they were like, rugby? Have you ever played rugby? Are you crazy? They tackle? And people was like, people second me. And so, they was like, okay. And I don't think they really believed me.
Right.
And so I drove up to Aspen. I was sleeping in couches, eating peanut butter and jelly, working in a flower shop and doing construction. And I got invited to a USA development tour in Canada, only playing rugby for a month. Everybody who was there had been playing majority all their life.
Right.
I've been playing for a month. I went there, I tore it up. The next day, I was the only one who got a contract. Boom. One of my goals came true. I was playing rugby for 3 months, made my first tour in Australia, and I became the world's fastest rugby player. Boom. Another one of my dreams come true. Boom. My videos I had over like 10, 13 million hits on YouTube. I was able to inspire millions of people around the world and tell my story. Boom. Another one of my dreams come true. I made the 2016 Olympics, 2020, 2021 Olympics. I went to the NFL, which was another one of my childhood dreams. That came true. Boom. Got a sponsorship by Nike, by Red Bull, Fabletics, a whole bunch of things. I was able to financially support myself, plus a lot more. Boom. Another one of my dreams come true. I was able to, I always wanted to, I was able to get 2 degrees within 2 years. Got my master's in MBA. One of my other dreams, kind of things I wanted to do.
And I remember when you talked about it.
Yeah.
Because me and Carla and we had met through a mutual person, man. Shout out Lori Moline.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my girl, man. But he was talking about you were talking about how like you was doing all this training, working, and going to school, working on homework online, like just cranking it out.
Correcting it.
And like, bro, that is when you talked about that, bro. You don't even know how much I related to that because when I got my MBA at Walsh University, shout out Walsh University. I know we at Malone, but I got it at Walsh. But a lot of people don't know, bro. Like that was probably like the hardest times in my life. You know what I'm saying? Financially, not having somewhere to always stay, and just trying to be around a good community, but like not really having no stability at all. You know what I'm saying, bro? None whatsoever, bro. Like I faced evictions, bro. I was bouncing around different homes, bro. But like when you said that, bro, it took me back to like, bro, I was in cats' houses just typing away, like I'm getting this done. Like I'm at the McDonald's just to get some Wi-Fi. Like I was doing that. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, bro, I remember that it took me all the way back to that. I'm like, yeah, man. Like I'm like this dude. I gotta really get to know this dude because like I know a glimpse of what he's talking about. Like I'm gonna get this done.
Yep.
And I'm gonna use this. I don't care what the odds is. I don't actually. It doesn't matter to me. Like I felt it. I felt it, bro. I was like,
Correct.
yeah.
And that's qualities within. You can't teach that.
You can't
teach.
There's no lesson plan for that.
Correct.
It just you either do it or you're not doing it.
Correct. And I think, when you know what you want in life and where you're trying to get to and how you want to build yourself and your resume.
Yeah.
And, as a man, you got to mold yourself to be the best that you could be.
Yeah.
But also give yourself an opportunity for people who to not say, yeah, you did these great things, however, you need this.
Right.
And so
It's always a what you need.
And so I think for me, I didn't want to put that in people's hands. And I also, I'm big on knowledge and growing and understanding different sectors and different businesses and how, how things work in and out, And so for me, I knew life after sport, there was going to come to an end where I was going to have to face the masses. And there's a lot of uncertainty, especially when you've been running and you've been playing for all your life and 10 years and that's all you know what you do. But you realize that at any time, God can be like, this is a change of plans. But also you got to know yourself. You got to know what you want. And it took me years and years and years to understand what else could I do? What can I be passionate about but still make money and make a living, right? And so
That's real, bro, for real. Identity at the end of the day.
Identity. And you see so many athletes lose their identity and they get so sucked in of, even as a pro, I got to be the best. I gotta do this and then that. But realize that you can't spend your whole time just doing one particular thing, right? You got 8 hours because we train from like 7:45 to like 3:30, right?
Yeah.
You got time after that to kind of discover yourself, and I think
That's crazy. That's a whole work day, and you said you training the whole time.
Bro, yes.
That's bro.
Live, eating, everything. And I live like 10 minutes from the Lupin Training Center, but you eat there, you take naps if you need to. Like it's a whole village, and so that's all my day was just eating, training, and recovering. But you didn't have no time when you get home, and I'm tired.
Right, I'm done for the day.
You're done. Like and I got to worry about making this team. The U.S. I got to about making the team every time. I'm traveling here. I'm getting pulled here and there with sponsorship deals and this and that. And you realize
that's your whole life.
That's your whole life.
Yeah.
But as you see, I was in a fortunate situation because I made my name. But at any time, somebody could be cut.
Yeah.
Right. You never know. And I think my spot was a little more secure because I worked so hard and I had a special gift. But everybody wasn't fortunate like that. And you're fighting. But every day, even though I knew that maybe my spot is secure, I still was fighting. I still had that dog.
Right.
Like it could be lost.
Man.
But that self-discovery that, one injury, I'm away, and I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, there's no guarantees.
Oh. And that's a scary thing.
Yeah, there's no guarantees.
To continue to discover and understand what you want, but also when you don't know, what building blocks and what tools and what things can I do that when I am done, I don't have just an entry-level job, or I'm able to have multiple of opportunities because I do have this degree.
Boy.
And it's so valuable. And people play lip service to it because not everybody can be an entrepreneur.
Can't everybody? It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But you also limit yourself as well too because something could happen, or your passion may happen, or you may want to do something else, but because I was thinking about, I don't need this, I don't need that. Instead of just having that in your arsenal you can pull from and use in case something does shift, I wanted to have access to many different things, right? And not be limited. So my box, I needed to be full.
Yeah.
And that's always how I thought. And so when I did get my degrees, that's what I was thinking. And I knew I needed it because I knew that I've done all these great things. However, I can't leave this situation, go to this, and have a job where I can't financially support myself.
Right. What are your degrees in?
My undergrad's in communications, and then my master's is in business administration.
Okay.
So,
man.
yeah.
You a student to the game,
Student
bro.
to the game, man. And I almost didn't get. I almost didn't do my bachelor's, man. I was just like, thought this is too much. It was. Thank God for Nicole, man. She pushed me. And once I got that,
Who's Nicole?
Nicole was a good friend of mine. She believed in me, man. And I was just like, this is just too much. Like, she pushed me.
That's what, bro.
And thank God for her. She was putting my life in full.
Be them angels, man.
For them angels for real, man. Dog, I'm like, all this and I got to train. I'm like, nah. But I understood the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And so I kept climbing, and I was just like, I almost did that NBA. Woo-hoo, I almost quit like 2 weeks. And now like all this math, all this blah 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 blah. I'm like, yo, I don't have time.
Bro, I thought when I was getting my MBA, bro, I was like, I thought this was supposed to be more specialized.
Correct.
And I'm like, why do I gotta take accounting?
Yep.
This ain't an accounting master's. This ain't.
Oh, and that economics class. And the crazy part is, I even finished my MBA with a 3.9 or 3.8, and that was the toughest degree, bro. Oh my God.
Bro.
And I commend you, man, because that MBA ain't no joke.
No joke, bro. And that's why I said I felt you, because I was like, bro, I remember just being in my car trying to use hotspots. I'm on my friends, my friends' hotspots. They don't even know what I'm going through. They just like, oh yeah, Tamiko just coming over to do homework. Like, I'm like, yeah, like, hi.
Yeah.
Just like doing my stuff, or you know what I'm saying, like, oh, I can stay here tonight, bro. Like, they don't even know. Oh, he just want to like, hang out. He's just tired. Like, nah, I just ain't got nowhere to go. Like, but like, I ain't really, you know what I'm saying. Wasn't like I was hiding it, but it wasn't like, I'm not about to talk about this right now. I don't want to get into the end, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I'm getting this work done though.
Correct. Yeah, I'm gonna get this gonna get done. No matter what, I'm gonna get this done.
I'm gonna get it done. So that's why I was like, bro, I know what you're talking about, bro.
Oh my God.
Boy, it was a class, man. It was business statistics. And you gotta like buy the software, and I didn't even buy it till like a couple weeks late. Teacher was like, you can't even take it no more because like, it's too late. And I was like, ma'am, you don't understand. Like, I only have this semester to finish school.
Correct.
If I don't do it now, I'm never going to finish school.
Correct, yep.
We don't make no exceptions. And I was like, man, Lori Molina is my witness, man. I called her. I was like, Lori, I don't know if they're going to let me finish this class. She's like, I'm going to make some calls for you, and I'll see what happens. Man, all I remember is praying, bro. Like, I'm like, Lord, you said that you was asleep in the boat, and you told the disciples that if they just had a little faith, they would have been cool. Yeah. And I'm like, Lord, this is my boat moment.
This is my boat.
This is my boat. I'm gonna go to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to sleep. I remember going to my friend's house, and she had baked some like cinnamon rolls or something. So I went over there and was just kicking it. And I remember getting that call from that lady from Walsh and like, hey, we're gonna let you take the class. And I was like, Lord.
He said,
I was like, God.
Thank you, God.
I promise I'm gonna finish this. I promise.
I ain't gonna let you down.
She was like, you gotta take 4 tests by tonight. And I was like, bet. She's like, she says like, I don't think you're gonna be able to do it. You gotta pass all 4 of them. I was like, bet. I'm doing it.
And you found a way. You did it.
Bro.
That wheel, man. When there's a wheel, there's a way.
It's a way.
Ooh.
I feel you, dog. Like, and that's really admirable, man. So you became everything you set out to be. Yeah. And now you're in this identity mode because you know at some point you got to hang the cleats up, you got to hang the spikes up, you got to put the ball down. And so like talk about, this season in your life a little bit, like that transition.
So that transition, I remember I was in, I think it was 2022. And I lost the passion of my drive and my hunger, but I worked hard and still did the things that I did on a day-to-day, waking up early, doing extra sessions, regardless of how I felt, because I knew feelings fickle, they're not credible. So I waited 6 months to see if they would come back. They didn't. And at that time, man, I was still dealing with not saying that I wouldn't say it affected me, but my sister died. One of my sisters died, and then my brother died.
Oh, man, sorry for your losses, man.
It's all right, man. It's life, right?
Yeah.
And so doing that, still in the mix of getting my MBA, fought through a lot, and I kept myself on the right track. But my feelings as far as the grit and the grind from sport, I dreaded every day going to practice. Every day I dreaded trying to get up and do the stuff that I was supposed to. I dreaded it, man. And it got to a point where I went to Spain, and Spain found out my sister died, and I'm fighting through. And I told coach, I said, God's telling me something, and I had to listen. And it's been 6 months too long where I've been doing regardless of how I felt, and I think he's telling me it's time to make a change. You're gonna have to figure one. I wanted to figure out life after sport, this other side, and I end up while I was in Spain. I said I'm gonna buy a house in Austin, and I said I'm gonna take a break. And at that time, it wasn't my MBA; it was my undergrad. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go do this. And there was so much uncertainty on the other end. And I was scared because I'm just like, I have all this financial stuff coming in, and I know that it's going to stop as soon as I stop. I just bought a house, and I didn't know how long I was going to be there. I didn't know if I was even going to return back to rugby. But I knew I needed to figure out this other side. And so I packed up my stuff, went to Austin, Texas. I was a supervisor for Parks and Rec. And then I became a child advocacy specialist, so I represented kids who were abused and neglected in court. And so I was the supervisor on the cases. And so I had about 20-some cases. And
look at this full circle moment, man. Keep going. I didn't want to stop it. They gonna know what it is.
Yeah.
They gonna know.
And I was a guardian ad litem as well. And so that molded me to I dealt with lawyers, judges, all walks of life and different people, and teaching you interpersonal communication. And I had to write court reports. I had to go speak and represent kids as well. But every step and everything that I was doing was preparing me for the next job and the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was facing that fear, right? But I knew I had to face it because I knew at some point it was going to come. But I was just building blocks. The hardest thing is when you come from a life and you were struggling and you made something of yourself, and now that security blanket I had the blanket. Now you leave that, and then now you don't know how financially this is going to come, that going to come.
Right.
You have to almost. I'm not like I'm smart with money.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that I did, I saved, which is a beautiful thing, because if I didn't have to work for a year, I was able to financially support myself.
Right.
But I knew that at some point, if something happens, I had to make sure I put money aside for that.
Yeah.
So I thought the long-term picture and what ifs, I covered that. And so we get to a point where now I'm discovering all this stuff, I'm doing this, but then I'm just like, just saying, you're dealing with people, which is the sucky part is now you're dealing with people that what you're used to is communication, agreeing to disagree, healthy communication. Now you're dealing with different type of people who let their egos in a way, who don't manage people well. Yeah. And now you're like even at the job that I was at, toxic upper management, and you're understanding, well, why are they in this role? Why are they still here? Why are people allowing this person to treat people like that? Yeah. And I'm the type of person that I can communicate stuff, but I'm going to do it effective.
Right.
But also, I'm not going to allow anybody to treat me any type of way.
Right.
Right. And I'm not going to stay at a job and be miserable because I need to. I know who I am. I know I got my college degree. I know what I'm worth. And I can leave. If I'm not happy, I'm not going to stay somewhere.
Right.
And so I left. And and then I'm like, okay, now what? And I'm thinking, now what? And so at this point, I'm like, either I'm going to go back to San Diego, do my third Olympics. I'm going to move back to Ohio, or I'm going to stay in Texas. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, I'm finishing up my MBA at that time. And I was like, God, I gave you a month. I said, God, I'm going to give you a month. I said, if I don't hear anything, you don't tell me something, you make something shake. Right. I'm going to have to move. And so I decided to come back to Ohio.
Yeah. See, a lot of times people, they get, I should say Christians, not people. Christians, sometimes they'll get stuck because they'll think, I got to hear this audible voice of God in order to move.
Yep.
But oftentimes, man, and hey, y'all fact check, y'all go on y'all word and y'all check this word out because I got scripture for it. Like, it's not that you giving God a time schedule. It's more like, we are finite. He's infinite. So like, hey man, this what's going on, Lord. Yeah. Like, I'm probably gonna have to move by this time, or I'm probably have to do this by this time.
Correct.
And and I know you are gonna make it evident to me because I'm gonna do this until you do something. Like it's just what it is.
Correct.
And that is like people like try to mystify God in that way, and I'm like, nah, bro. Like it's like, bro, you just said that so beautifully, bro. I'm like, man, like you just missing it. And I'm like, just bro, you a person, bro. Like go ahead and live, and like God, He literally will show you.
He'll direct your steps.
He really would, just like it says in Proverbs. Many of the plans a man makes, but the Lord orders your steps. Like he literally will do it if you just let him, and just keep going, and He's gonna do it. It's I don't know how to break it down more simpler than that, but your life is like, that moment in your life is it just models that so. I had to highlight it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But go ahead though.
Yeah. And so, when I was young, I wanted to be a teacher and I wanted to be a principal. Something I always wanted.
Oh, we got similar aspirations.
Yeah, I wanted to be that. And so I came back, and I was just like, came back to Ohio, I said, nah, I'm going back to do my Olympics. And so I got a phone call. I bought my flight that same day. I said, nah, this ain't for me. He said, hey, and principal role. And I'm just like, my dream. Boom, took it. Went back to Austin, packed up some stuff, came back here, and I became a principal. And I was doing that, and God shifted me to do what I'm currently doing. And so for me, I'm all about pouring into the community and people. Like, I think now this generation, people need good mentors, and people need to see even successful African American men doing something with them. With
It's
their
essential.
lives. Yeah, it is.
It's essential.
And so, and I care, and I deal with people from the heart and not from the head. And there's so
Right.
many people, even in higher up roles. It could be a superintendent, it could be whatever it is, and different. They deal with people from the head. And I'm always the type of person that, God, if you put me in these leadership roles, I'm gonna show these people what caring is.
Yeah.
And I'm showing what a healthy environment is,
Right.
and what good communication is, and hearing you out. And you don't always get that, and it's so weird. And I wouldn't say weird to see, but it's asinine to see that the environments in some of these other schools or districts, you got people who let their egos in the way.
Yeah.
And
It's quick, man.
Correct.
It's quick.
And so for me, I was like, God, if I was because I remember that one of the directors at Casa, and I was just like, man, God, you ever put me in that role, I'm a look out there for people and show them what a good leader is.
Yeah.
And so I got an opportunity to be a public relations and community initiative director for the Stark County Prosecutor's Office and
Oh
prosecutor
wow,
Kyle Stone.
man.
And so that's what I'm
That's
currently
what's
doing.
up, man. Congratulations.
Thank you. So everything that I'm doing, envisioned, and wanted for myself has come true. Everything I spoke,
All around.
all of it. And so now I'm at a role now that I can continue to lead people and care for people, but also for the community and fight
Yeah.
crime and look out for. Because I just came here from Faircrest, giving those kids speeches. And so for me, I care so much about people, and I want people to succeed, but also get the wisdom. Because that's the way of life. Optics make you money, but wisdom is the way of life. So how we pour into people in our communities is essential to growth, and and stop the propensity of bad things happening within our own selves and in our community. And so, yeah, my job entails a lot. It's hectic and it's heavy, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I think working for Kyle Stone, who's a great prosecutor, and all the other prosecutors within our office, it's a blessing, man. Oh my God, I love what I do.
That's what's up, man.
I'm always looking to build and keep growing, and I'm a coach as well. But I do it all, man. My hands are in a lot of baskets.
Yeah, bro. I can tell, bro. And you know what, man? It's refreshing to hear, someone who's ready for the job.
Oh yeah.
It's refreshing to hear. A lot of times you'll say, "Hey, I bet you get a lot of Carlin, man. You just doing too much, bro." Or, "Hey, slow down, man." And in your mind, it's like I'm not even moving as fast as like I actually think I can go.
Correct.
And it's just refreshing to hear that like-mindedness, man. I really do resonate with that a lot, bro. Like we were saying off camera, I was like, bro, hands here, hands there, hands here, and that's okay, That's some people are like, hey, dude, busyness will steal you, and I'm like, well, yeah, if I was overwhelmed, but I'm actually good, and I'm not like lying to myself about like working to occupy my mind. That's not what's going on. I'm not just doing things purposelessly. It's all intentional.
Yep.
I hear all that from you, bro, and like that's I think it's beautiful, bro. Anything else you want to share, bro? Promote, break down, advice.
Man, just I think just continue to communicate to self the things that you need, and don't let your circumstances blind you or stop you from being what you can be. And money always gonna be there, but also understand, okay, with my gift and my passion, everybody needs to make a living, right? And everybody, it's not saying that you want to live this lavishly, but what's comfortable to you is what be comfortable to somebody else. But understand that I'm going to build myself on my building blocks, and I understand what type of life I want to live and the type of impact I want to live, and know that it will happen and it can happen.
Yeah.
But you just have to be cognizant of the things that God is putting in your way, and everything around us we have to realize is a resource. It's water. It's here to
Facts.
grow us. And don't be scared to ask for help. Don't be scared to put your to do things that's contrary to how you are.
Yeah.
And understand that this is what's going to take for me to get there. And as long as you keep going in that way, things will come to you, and God will put people in your life, and He also will plant your feet and redirect you when you need to. But be weary and be mindful of things around you and what's being in place, because sometimes you can lose things or not take advantage of opportunities and people and situations because you weren't aware of why that situation and what God was doing. And
Man.
people connect stuff for a reason, and God can be even just if it's just advice, because He's telling you something. God's always telling you something.
Yeah.
But sometimes we don't listen, and we let our own agenda, our own egos or X, Y, and Z get in the way because this is what I want to do. But it's not about what you want; it's what God wants. And if it aligns, then perfect. But
Right. And if it doesn't, submit to it.
Correct.
Submit to His will.
correct, because I'm telling you, though, if I did what I wanted to do because track I was so passionate about, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Right.
But I was still able to run track because when I did make it, I was able to do everything. And the thing is, you got to know when to move and when to stay still.
Yeah.
And be patient, because he'll
That's
tell
so
you.
key, bro.
And I'm not a patient person.
Yeah.
But through that, He'll teach you patience. But things will come.
Yeah.
And soon as it do click, your life will change just like this.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. But He's just preparing you. And he's like, okay, I want you to learn this a little bit more and be weary. I'm gonna put this in there because I know once you have it and you get it, you'll be able to cherish it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't wanna get a blessing that you can't cherish it and you miss it. So God wants you to be able to prepare for it. And that's what I always did with my life, is prepare for the moments.
Yeah.
So when I do get it, that I'm able to cherish it and show God thank you and be able to do something with it. Because if you can't do nothing with it, I can't be effective to people.
Bro, as you was talking, man, I've been reading this verse here, man. It's Psalm 86. And it came to me as you was talking. I haven't actually read Psalm 86, but it stopped me at verse 7. And sometimes, bro, when people talk, I get like a word, and that word is just be like a script Bible verse, and it says, "On the day of trouble, I will call upon you, for you will answer me. There is no one like you among the gods, Lord, nor are there any works like yours." And like that's what I got, bro. When you was talking, I'm like, man, I can call on Him in the day of my troubles, and He's gonna hear me. Because there's nobody like Him.
Nobody.
It just is what
Oh
it is,
God.
man. And I can hear that. You said at the beginning, like, yo, I got a unique story. And I like I said before, bro, I really is a privilege to hear all that, bro. And you are unique, bro. You are special, man. And your mindset, how you think, how you moving, bro, is, bro, don't let nobody take that away from me. I mean, I know you won't. You got to hear it from me. I know you so motivated. But like, man, this really is a special person, and I know just down the line, bro, you probably gonna do even more extraordinary things, man. Can't wait to see
Likewise,
more
man.
of it, bro.
And I can't wait to see you blossom, and I can already tell in your life and your journey that God's preparing you. And I know you have a lot of different things going on for yourself, but once it mesh and it matches, I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be like, man, and you're gonna be able to continue to tell your story. But I already see he's preparing, and I already see what he's doing. And the more you continue to strive and go down this lane, regardless of even your current situations and what that may look like, trust me, that it's gonna turn out to be so beautiful, man. And you're gonna continue to live your purpose. You're gonna be able to continue to inspire people and use your gifts that he already has for you to touch people, right? And the things and the qualities that you give, you're going to be able to do and be able to survive. I'm not saying that you don't have financial stability, but it's going to be like, it's all going to come together as what it has for me. And you're going to be able to make those impacts and do what you do and not worry about this, worry about that. But everything is a building block. And I already can see he's moving and working and before you know it, everything's gonna line. It's gonna be like bam. And you're gonna sit back and just enjoy life and inspire and continue to motivate people and make an impact.
Bro, I appreciate that. I receive all of that, man.
Trust me, I already know, man.
That's what's, man. Nah, bro, thank you, bro, for real, man.
Yep.
Hey, man, we just had another episode on the Journey Podcast. Family, until next time, peace.
One love.
I'm trying to override. Still got sinful habits. I'm trying to replace. I'm trying to override. I'm still trying to override. Journey through my hardest times. Put my faith in God alone.